The following are banned in voice chat: giving birth, doing drugs, denying that you are on copious amounts of drugs even though it's obvious that you are on copious amounts of drugs, taking a shit without turning off your mic and camera, showing unsolicited car radio pictures, and explaining to people where to buy drugs. She did what? You're gonna have to be a bit more specific. Imagine Dragon's job is to come up with music that will get your cousin to join the army. I feel like I've never heard any Imagine Dragons music in a military ad before. Have they been used for that? I mean, it sounds about right, but anyway. Honestly, who the hell actually likes sparkling water? That tastes like TV static. It does. However, when you're trying to wean off soda, like I did, it's so helpful to get that bubbly bullshit. But knowing you're really just drinking water and not something with aspartame or sucralose or, you know, regular old fructose corn syrup, well, at least here in the US anyway. I'm a little upset I've never been given a sticker after sex. Did you do a good job? Ravens are right. Life is about collecting shiny trinkets and bringing bad omens and pestering men until they descend into madness. That kind of feels like my dream job, but I've never been offered it once in my life. Oh well. Yeah, I'm on board with this one. Money pulled out of anywhere other than your purse, pocket, or wallet will not be accepted. For example, bra, socks, underpants, etc. Yeah, don't give people your sweaty, nasty fucking money. I'm so happy that people are finally drawing that line. I mean, they probably have been for a really long time, but I'm happy they're still doing it, you know? The wildest party of all time got canceled. A cocaine haul so large that it could supply every man, woman, and child in Britain twice has been seized in Southampton. Wait just a minute. Supplied with how much? And also, wasn't this like Miriam Margolyes's rental home or something that this happened in? Or am I thinking of a different story entirely? Passenger loading zone, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., 2:15 p.m. to 3:13 p.m. Yeah, that one's a little bit weird. I can't really follow you into that dark tunnel. I wish babies can only explode on a Tuesday when holding a hot dog. Are you trying to be very random funny? Only the US forces you to give birth, while forcing you to pay tens of thousands of dollars to give birth, while not letting you have time off to give birth. Oh man, we could talk about this for miles and miles down the road. TSA penalty. No threats, no verbal abuse, no physical violence of any kind. If you threaten, endanger, or harm transportation security officers during screening, TSA will pursue criminal penalties and fines up to $13,910. Thank you for your cooperation. That is a very, very specific fine. And I totally understand the rules here. You know, don't be an absolute... Don't fucking touch me or punch me, push me, whatever. That's pretty normal. However, TSA lads and lasses out there, you don't have the right to be a jackass to us either. I hope this email finds you laid up with a bad bitch, scheming on your next move, counting money, plotting the expansion of your empire. I don't want an empire! How much Robux could I buy with... Well, that sure is a lot of money you have. Why is this one feels lame. Come on. From Trivia Murder Party 2 in the Quiplash minigame on the Jackbox Party Pack 6. The best name for a 1970s TV show about a curmudgeonly detective who solves crimes with help from a wisecracking teenage werewolf. Oh, whatever, it might be specific, but you know you'd watch it. Teen Wolf, Mystery Files. The tagline is something like, sniffing out a crime, or this dog has its day. The show was poorly received by critics, but it's such an audience hit it runs for 8 seasons. Is that what you were about to say? PS1 games are wild. Aline Cedrak, or Kedrak, I don't know, 27 years old. Ethnology professor at the Boston University. Characteristic, father unknown. What game is this for? Oh, it's Alone in the Dark! Okay, cool. Okay, gotcha. Oh man, I am excited for that remake. I'm so excited. Why wouldn't there be a bathroom on board? Captain Cocktail's public and private cruises. The party boat with a bathroom on board? I feel like party boats generally do have that, right? If you pulled into your driveway, got out of the truck, and went inside, after doing that, a cop turns his lights on son pulls into your driveway and tries to pull you over for X, would he have any grounds? Would I be evading if I didn't answer the door? That is an interesting question. I mean, it's weirdly written, but what you're trying to ask is, if you already made it home, pulled into your driveway and walked inside, and then a police officer tried to pull you over, would they be able to do anything? I'm sure they could come up with something. They like to. If you walk in a circle with a radius of about 6 feet for over an hour, the radius of your circle will naturally decrease. And if you then try to walk in a straight line, you'll just walk in a circle. It'll take a significant amount of effort to not walk on a curve, and it will feel very weird. Thank you for letting me know, because now I'm not going to do this. Is this true? It would only take an hour to find out. Tell me how it goes. Not just chocolate brown, chocolate raisin brown. That is a very specific color. Khaki green animal? Monochrome print. Weird. Oddly specific engine name, especially considering its actual size is 581cc. Rotax 583 Rave. R-A-B-E. Now that you're not dying, pay me. What? One very annoying thing about working in an American ER is how often I go see my patient and registration/billing are in the middle of pestering them about their insurance card or putting a credit card down. Yeah, they walk into my hospital room, I'm gonna tell them to f*** off. This is getting ridiculous. No, this is getting out of hand. I mean, it already is out of hand and has been since probably well before I was born, but nah, this is ridiculous. Not that I would expect anyone to remember. I can't remember how to write 1, 1000, 51, 6, and 500 in Roman numerals. I thought 50 was L. Wasn't it an L? Oh, it's a joke. I'm livid. Gotcha. Okay, I was kind of thinking that's what they were setting it up for. It's what it felt like. It was too specific to be true. Not true. What's the word? Doesn't matter. Some people have resting face. Adam Driver has resting professor of theology listening to his students present a report on religious symbolism in medieval art that they copied off of Wikipedia page. I guess I don't see it, but clearly you do. Circuit gays be like, Miami's not ready for us. As if we've never seen a group of 4 spray-tanned Planet Fitness Black Card members step off of their Spirit Airlines flight with no hotel reservation and spend $85 on an Uber X plus $150 on entry to Thirst Bottoms for Days featuring DJ shirtless with sunglasses plus $70 on 4 Gatorades only to vomit behind a speaker for 2 hours, stand in line for a back alley porta potty fighting over who's taking home the TikTok famous self-proclaimed fitness model to do an OnlyFans collab in their 2-queen bedroom they booked 20 minutes ago on Hotels Tonight, but really just end up walking to Denny's in a K-hole at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. What the hell are you talking about? How I look in the mirror? How I look in photos taken immediately after? Well, quit pressing your face up against the window. What do you expect? It is New Hampshire, after all. Imagine if you combined rural Idaho with the most racist parts of Boston and then sprinkle in about 10,000 rich weirdo libertarian uncles who inexplicitly became a multimillionaire starting businesses that do things like selling Ford all their windshield wipers or manufacture every single bollard on the eastern seaboard. That's basically New Hampshire. So rural Idaho, but you have to sprinkle in racist? I don't think Idaho needs specific one sprinkled in. They got plenty of their own. My niece turned 3 today. She asked for a Lion King cake, but specifically the moment where Mufasa dies because everyone will be too sad to eat the cake and it'll all be for me. Yeah, I'm gonna eat that cake. Sex is cool, but have you ever had someone give you so much emotional safety that you were able to break down and process trauma right in front of them without the fear of being judged or ridiculed? Do not eat this with guilt. This is what we have eaten as a species for millions of years. Not rice, not bread, not salad, and most of all not Captain Crunch? You didn't pay attention in history class, did you? You didn't. You know what? I do love this a lot because it's funny as hell, first of all. And if you weren't kidding and you were serious, it's really funny that you're saying that we have not been eating rice and bread and, sure, maybe not salad in the traditional sense, but vegetables in a fucking bowl or something. Pretty sure we've been eating that since the beginning of time. time. My biological clock is ticking. If I don't impregnate a French redhead with short hair and black lipstick while on a secret mission for the CIA soon, then I am going to die. Okay. Wow, that's the cleanest ear canal I've ever seen. The eardrum reminds me of a slipper limpet seashell? Okay, I'm not looking that up. Misogyny check. Let your phone complete the sentence. Women are so cute. Women are not a frog. Okay, look, I don't know how long ago this was done, but I will give it a try for you right now. All right, let's see. Women aren't the problem. Okay, there it is, folks. My preferred brightness setting is usually 87 on all devices. Well, I mean, you do you. I finally, within the last year, started letting the phones do their auto brightness, and honestly, doesn't kill battery, doesn't affect anything. I'm just gonna let it do its thing and live my life. Ted Cruz looks like he got fired from the bowling alley for the shoes. That's definitely not a real picture of him though, but I can see what you're talking about. That's not, right? It's not, is it? Right? Can't wait to get out into those shark-infested waters. Some diver who was in a no-win situation. Gotcha. Better than drowning, or getting crushed by water pressure, or having to listen to Suzanne complain one more time about the goddamned water pressure in the shower. Very particular max size limitations. Let's see, 2160, but 20,000. That's a lot. What? The Wordmaster Scrabble app provides definitions of a word that's played. I found this word to be quite specific. Fawn? A warm, dry wind that blows down the northern slopes of the Alps. That feels like a word that has never been used ever. In any language, I'm here to share a secret of how I became rich. Wait, Baba Ogundele helped me. Call him. I saw his on social media. I was so afraid to call him, but I took the risk to call and explain to him about my financial problems. He told me to add him on WhatsApp with his number. In just 2 hours, I was so surprised, sorry. Now I'm rich, have houses, cars, filling station, travel to any country Okay, that's an interesting bot scam. That's cool. Licorice candy smells like death. Have you tried Death by Blackbird yet? It's my favorite. Smells like a funeral in the rain with a freshly dig grave soil and a wet headstone, while a child is eating licorice candy. I can see the whole scene in my head. Maybe you should write that down. Build a story based off of this. Wow, that text is almost completely illegible. It's not hard to throw a stroke on something, okay? Me waiting for my 7 Bernese mountain dogs who I've raised as my sons to come of age so I can legally bequeath them the entirety of my Fortune 500 company. Redditors who have an unusual affinity for collecting discarded chewing gum from public spaces, what drives your passion? And what's the most bizarre piece in your eclectic gum collection? I'm sorry, but what the hell did you just ask? Can security services in dictatorial countries identify people from their voices when they make audio interventions in cyberspace with famous opponents of the regime residing outside the country? How should I know? This is how I imagine philosophy and psychology majors speak to each other. Oh my god. Whew, that's a lot of text. Let's see. This is where I hint that I care for you, but I can't say it outright, for I am paralyzed by my aching loneliness, too afraid to be vulnerable, which ironically would heal the very same loneliness that haunts me. I will wait for your inevitably cold reply, feeling unheard, despite it being at least partly my fault for making an all too underhanded attempt at voicing my feelings. At least a self-fulfilling prophecy is dependable. Indeed, I reply coldly, if at all, despite feeling the very same loneliness. I cannot understand your sorrows, nor you mine. How was I to know the context behind your casual text? How could I gather how much you care for me when I have become so conditioned to apathy that any semblance of hope can potentially crush me if I'm wrong? Like a simple organism stirs at warmth, I see scraps of affection and yet mistrust it when I have it. Tell me, how many lonely men and women walk around the world grasping for each other in the dark, never making contact? Want to come over? Going to the doctor for contraception starter pack. A bunch of old people in the waiting room, Googling aggressively the night before so you don't need to spend much time there. The pills will all give you cringe side effects anyway, so you gotta just deal/pick the least bad one. That one nice pharmacist who just gives you the product or asks if you want the cheaper version of it. Everyone knows. Your doctor is always an old dude who doesn't understand your issue. This society will have you angrier at an unhoused person stealing $5 to eat than at a guy in a suit stealing $5 million to buy a third house. PhD in medieval stone adhesives, both odd and extremely specific. That's interesting. Very exciting PhD position available at Archaeologist Museum. Oh, I see. Sticking Stones. Aims to explore the extent of the use of wood tar adhesives in medieval stone construction. Man, what kind of job security would you have with a PhD that hyper-specific? This very unique power of Miss Swift I found in the facepalm section. Swifties, I don't want to break your cute hearts, but your idol is a transgender reptilian demon witch. Taylor Swift is not what you think. She clones many bodies and reincarnate into them. She puts black magic in her music and keeps you all in a spell worshipping her. Wake up. Nah. Meat Mountain sandwich at Arby's. Oh, it's so gross. Arby's is great when you want to eat something that gives you the same feeling as hurriedly closing the tabs because you're ashamed at what you just nutted to. Arby's, it's closest. When moving back in with your parents isn't an option, you really start to recognize how little help there is and how little it takes to end up with nothing. I'm not sure why this is here because it doesn't feel like a hyper-specific or oddly specific thing. This doesn't really fit the vibe, but they are correct. When you do not have the option to go home, you'd be surprised just how fast your only other option is work more or be homeless. Damn, you really go from slapping a person's naked butt cheek to never talking to them again. That happens. If your boss tells you your team at work is like family, that means you can scream, "You're not my real mom," and storm out every time they ask you to do anything. Hey, they said like family. I wish that every male's left testicle is immediately and safely teleported to the core of Uranus. The job I was about to apply for. Job description. If you like to hold a grudge and be an unreal person, do not apply. We are grown at Edible and expect grown people to apply. If you are emotional and find your feelings hurt easily, or you take everything personal, or overthink everything, we ask that you do not apply. Oh, sorry, definitely do not apply. Why does it sound like you're a nasty, disgusting place to work at? And no one should give you the time of day. Neurodivergent kids listening to music and imagining complex animations with characters from their hyperfixations? Same. Yeah, I don't want kids, but if I did, I would endeavor to be this kind of mom. The kind that's like, look, I did stupid crap as a kid. I know you're going to do stupid crap as a kid. I'll try to help you be smart about the stupid crap you do so you're not staggering around a Kinko's copies at midnight with your friends looking for condoms because you're high as hell and thinking you're at a Walgreens. And that you're gonna make it to Bethany's party before her parents get home from Boston. I can dig it. Guy with a Neuralink cut me off in traffic, so I took out my Flipper Zero and made him gender dysphoric. This reminds me of my uncle's cousin's sister's tragic memoir. That was a mouthful. I feel like I've been there before. Where is that? Real, it looks like my half-brother's dad's airplane hangar before it was hit by the tornado. All right, keep honking. I'm listening to Alice Coltrane's 1971 meteoric sensation, Universal Consciousness. Me and my bestie laughing because the kidnapper accidentally said scangle instead of strangle, so we keep saying, please don't scangle us every time he tries to talk. People that don't like techno just plain and simply can't dance or bang a female right. Okay. They have no groove in their body. They look or rigid and scared to dance at social events with their little pecker. All right, man. I bet her farts sound like a tuba that's been completely filled with oatmeal. I don't like the internet anymore. Do you guys? Because I don't.
My resume pales in comparison to Alan Moore's. He's a writer, wizard, mall Santa, and Rasputin impersonator. Man of many talents. A for apple. B for bat. C for cat. D for dog. And E for Ed. Classic Ed moment. Instagram, look at my new boyfriend. Twitter, I can't get a boyfriend. Reddit, uh-oh. Is this an Am I the Asshole? You know what that means. Bring up the Subway Surfers. My 21F boyfriend, 53M, forbids me from going into the basement and has a sock drawer full of missing women's driver's license. AITA for being uncomfortable. The wedding is in 3 hours. There you go. There's your brain rot for the day. Kids today are like, so what did y'all do before the internet? Did you just not know anything? And the answer is yes. You would ask your Aunt Marge a question, she'd give you the wrong answer, and you'd carry that misinformation for 20 years. And there's a lot of stuff like that. I remember hearing like cracking your fingers gives arthritis. I'm almost certain that is just not an actual thing, but there are so many people, especially like older folks, who will like swear their life on it. They're like, no, it's real. It's real. Your fingers will turn to dust. It's not at all. It's not at all what'll happen. I love technically true jokes. Like, if everybody in the world held hands around the equator, most of them would drown. Or, did you know that after all these years, the swimming pool in the Titanic is still filled with water? Or, there are more airplanes in the ocean than submarines in the sky. What else you got? It doesn't have to be water related. I mean, yeah, you did have a lot of water-related jokes, but, well, like you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fit. That's also a water-related one. Never mind. Michael B. Jordan is cute, but doesn't have any edge. He just looks, I don't know, responsible? Like, he looks like he knows where his birth certificate's at. That's a little too much responsibility for me. Like, live life a little bit. Burn your social security card. Pigs can't look up, but I could pick a pig up one night and raise it into the sky and tilt this pig ever so gentle. I could make sure this pig's eyes lines up with the stars. Imagine seeing the stars for the first time. I want to be treated that kindly and see the stars for the first time. This guy's waxing real poetic right now. That feels real poetic. I like that. Everyone needs someone that'll lift them up to see the stars for the first time. So today at the gym, I thought my trainer was flirting with me when he asked me for my number and to take a pic of me. Turns out he thought I resembled Buzz Lightyear and sent me this. Oh my God. A little bit of a botched Photoshop job, but you know what? It's the thought that counts. You ever smell the air and it smells like the 4th grade Scholastic Book Fair on a chilly Tuesday in October of 2007? Dude, the book fair was always a good time. I remember going, I had my little allowance and like, I would scout out what books I wanted. Like, I didn't do midnight releases of video games. I did early morning rushing of the book fair to get my little eraser heads and, little eraser heads and books and bookmarks. So fire. Everyone's autistic now. Okay. My single 63-year-old neighbor with $1.2 million of model trains in his basement, who wrote a 90-page letter to the city about the brightness of streetlights when I was growing up, was just a regular guy then? Like, he was just chilling? He was just a dude who was hanging out? He was just a guy being a dude? Okay. Please don't back off in the bathroom, Frank! I mean, hey, you know, boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why. That's why I beat off on company time. That's how the rhyme goes, right? That's how I've always understood it. I don't know what the problem is. So, yesterday I'm sitting at my desk eating figs drizzled in honey and slices of dried sausage and cheese with a rind. And my boss comes up behind me and says, "What is this breakfast? Why do you eat like a Roman emperor?" And then walked away, and I've been thinking about it for hours, and you know what? I think I deserve it. I think that's why, boss. You make $1, I make a dime. That's why I beat off a company time. Ayomi's 34, and she's looking for a guy who's really trustworthy and healthy. In fact, so healthy you must have both kidneys, you're a non-smoker, and not a big drinker or take any drugs that could damage your liver. And in fact, typo-negative blood's a plus. Just wondering. She's gonna take all your blood. Every last drop. She's selling blood. Happy 3-year anniversary to working in a coffee shop at 6 a.m. And my first customer was this lady in a fox costume on her way to surprise chase her daughter, who was afraid of mascots, down the street in Chicago. Ah, the allure of the big city. All right, I'll bite. What do I do for a living? You work as a butler in a haunted mansion. And yo, scary movie, you put your little hand in the mashed potatoes. Grab the little hand. Yeah, dude. I loved that movie. Such a bad movie, but so fun. Having a 2-year-old is like living with a little gnome from a folktale that you have to trick into doing things, because if you ask it directly, it will curse you. And it's real hard to navigate around, but you know what? I think we're really starting to do it. I think we're really starting to push through and get our requests fulfilled from the little monster. Wanted. Someone to climb into this hole in the library for us. Job requirements. Limber, trusting, has not read The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. Especially do not read that one. Not necessary. Don't read it. And if you do read it, you're fired. We just want you to crawl into this hole for us. Sorry, but if you say the word literally inside Continental, you have 5 minutes to finish your drink and then you must leave. If you actually start a sentence with I literally, you must leave immediately. This is the most overused, annoying word in the English language and we will not tolerate it. Stop Kardashianism. Oh my God, is that something that is like actually colloquialized? There is no such thing as Kardashianism. They made up a word and I knew exactly what they were meaning. That's awesome. The idea that the ideal beach body just means being thin or buff is so unimaginative. Surely the ideal beach body would have a powerful lobster claw, arm flaps to act as a windbreak, and a sand repellent anus. I feel like these are things, and you know what? If God had contacted me, God had said, hey, Damien, I just got a couple of questions for you. I wouldn't have said lobster claw, but I would have said, gills. Gills seem like a really powerful thing for the beach to have, so you can get into the tide and you can have that second source of breath. It'd be really hydrating and you'd be able to breathe. I think, why don't the powers that be take these ideas into account? Open box before eating pizza. Every rule or warning that is put somewhere was put there for a reason, so someone ate this with the shell. That's crazy. I have 2 employees that usually leave work at 6 p.m. They're good, but I don't like that their commitment lasts for work hours only. What should I do as a CEO? Oh, yeah, no, actually, I've had this problem before. What you should do, you should copy and paste this complaint into a table in Microsoft Word 2007. Print it double-sided in landscape mode. Fold it in half 8 times, soak it in olive oil, and shove it up your ass. Feel like that's probably what you should do. As a CEO, shove it up your ass. You make $1 when your employees make a dime, and that's why, I can't, the rule of threes, I can't make that joke anymore. I would give anything to be a golden retriever belonging to an upper middle class white family with one of those bandanas around my neck named Max or some shit. Cause they are given the absolute life. They're given a royal treatment. They got the little bandana, they got their own fancy like doggy brand food. It's imported. Oh dude, they're treated like kings. Women don't ask for much. We just want equality, respect, body autonomy, several crowned jewels, 3 yoke of oxen, ample supplies, 5 small or 2 large dragons, a pack of obedient attack wolves, and pockets in every garment. Just saying, it's not that much. We even listed it out for you, so you can read and check off the list. Just be wanting a gangster lumberjack bisexual that in tune with his feelings and makes 18 million a year. I think that it's, you like checked... This was a crazy word salad. Are you this man? Is this who you are? When you come over, 4:23. That's very specific. Any particular reason for that time? I mean, if you think about it, any time is a specific time. Like 4 o'clock's a specific time too. So it's no more specific than any other time. Now I'm not coming, and check your messages. You got 600 unreads, buddy. I bet that's 90% Uber confirmations and DoorDash. And then the remaining 10% is authentication codes for your 2-factor. I know exactly what you got going on. Remembering how common it was in like the early 90s for a kid to say, hey, and some old timer to respond, hey is for horses, as part of some kind of campaign to label hey as rude and force kids not to say it. They're gone now and we still say hey. So you lost, old timers. And that's why there's ghosts, because they're gonna haunt you until you stop saying hey. Well. Reminder that Tarantino wrote a scene in Dusk Till Dawn where Salma Hayek pours tequila down her leg and forces a guy to drink it by sucking on her toes, then cast himself in that role. I see. I've never watched Dusk Till Dawn, and that is... That's hilarious. Like in an awkward, kind of strange way. No refunds on gator meat. Yes, it is chewy. Yes, it is fishy. Yes, it is gamey. It is meat from an alligator, not chicken. Just put it in a po' boy and you'll be fine. Dear Jeep owner, you've been ducked by a proud Navy veteran from blank. Have a meaningful day. Aww. Well, thanks. Thanks for ducking me, dude. Happily married to my 5'5" king for 8 years while y'all are getting ghosted by 6'2" alcoholics with a 7th grade reading level. That's so oddly specific. It fits the subreddit perfectly, but But go off about how you only date tall men, I guess. Is he wearing a chain? What does that chain say? I wish I could read. No. It's gotta be the design of the shirt. I mistook the creases on the shirt for like the necklace of the chain. I thought it was wearing like a big ass pendant. I was like, what is he repping there? I was having a really hard time with that. And you know what? At least they're happy. And now he's got someone to reach the top shelf for him. So that's real nice. That's real nice. Me, she's jealous of me because I can play Mr. Brightside using nothing but armpit farts. Wife, not true. Me, I'll do it right now. Wife, please don't. Marriage counselor visibly excited. I mean, you can express yourself freely here, Brandon. I got my popcorn ready, actually. Your fiance gets kidnapped in a foreign country. You stay out till 2 a.m. searching with authorities, but you eventually have to call it and return to your hotel. Do you still do your skincare routine, yes or no? The answer is yes, because I have to feel glowing and rejuvenated if I'm going to find my fiance. You know, I can't do that if I'm not feeling hydrated and moisturized. Why the hell did you tell your father BDSM stands for burgers, drinks, and salsa music? He just invited Bob and Agnes to come over tonight for a BDSM party. We are not done talking about this. Sorry, you seemed excited about it. Can't afford a private investigator? Just order food delivery. Hi, just placed a Del Taco order. I don't want this actually delivered. There's a $10 tip built in and keep the queso. My husband's supposed to be home alone while I'm visiting family. I just need to know what cars are in the driveway. Yes, I know I sound crazy. For the love of God, please don't actually deliver this. So just to clarify, you don't want me to deliver the food. You just want me to drive by the house, the address you gave me, and let you know what cars are in the driveway? Yes, keep the food. And I added a $10 tip when I placed the order. All right then, I'm in line right now, but I'll let you know once I go by. Could you have added more than queso? Should I get chips? What's going on? The new praying memoji looks like a very exasperated gay man trying to explain something to someone who isn't understanding them. Especially when you pair it with the laptop. I think when you do the MacBook, close it and then he goes, the inhale, exhale, it's what it looks like. I am dying to know what Jerry and Robbie did to invoke the wrath of the professor. Sit quietly at your desk for a few minutes. Get up, say that was easy, and turn in your quiz. Do not say anything to Jerry and Robbie. That's all you gotta do. Live every day like your 2001 Nicole Kidman, leaving her lawyer's office after divorcing Tom Cruise. How do you think about that, Tom? Wow, okay. Hey man, she looked like she was living free. She looked like she was having a great time. Good morning to everyone except my partner who at 2 a.m. mid-dream sat bolt upright in bed and terrifyingly shuddered into the dark. Will there be a buffet? Well, will there? It's a very important question. Nude psychic readings and tax advice. What? Like at the same time? Or are these two separate services? Is this like a shared building, a shared unit? Why does it have to be a nude psychic reading? NSFW. Your girlfriend of 4 months is writing a book about her sexual experiences before she met you and has a legit chance of getting published. It bothers you, M35, for reasons you can't quite explain. What do? Do not read that fucking book. I mean, if it bothers you that your partner has had sexual experiences before you, then yeah, probably don't read it, right? There's a knight in my backyard stabbing the ground with his sword, trying to render my soil barren by killing the worms, but luckily I've trained them all in a classical ballet, and they keep pirouetting away from the blade. Incredible sentence structure here. You can't get sentences like this anywhere else. I mean, this is homegrown Tumblr, baby. You don't get this. This ain't your grandma's website. This time of year, I grab weeds when I'm walking my dog and weave them into little wreaths that I leave around the neighborhood. Specifically because there's one woman on Nextdoor who is furious because she thinks they're signs of witchcraft. And I encourage you to do the same. We need more music where the singer says, "Take him for a walk, Artie," and then the guy with a clarinet just goes nuts for like 8 minutes. Letting someone go nuts on their instrument of choice for an extended period of time really works the crowd up. Like that's what it's all about. It's the payday. It's the payday for them, dude. Oh, is this a road? It's like a road in the middle of the desert. Hardly even a road. Oh no, it's paved. Is it paved? I think it's paved. Some poor slob is sitting in the middle of that while dealing with a severe ecstasy hangover and second-degree sunburns, trying to make up stories about getting laid to tell his fellow tech bros, when in reality the closest he got was getting punched in the face for grinding up against a fully bearded man dressed up like Sailor Moon. God bless him. The backbone of our tech industry. Khloe Kardashian's hands look like the hands of what I imagine lives under my bed and grabs my ankles in my sleep. Really frightening and not quite human. If I woke up tomorrow as a horse, first thing I'd do is eat a whole apple with the core in one bite. I bet it'd be really nice. Yeah, then I'd kick whatever's behind me. Real horse hours. The Jewish-Japanese Sex and Cookbook and How to Raise Wolves by Jack Douglas. Excuse me? Is that wait a minute, Jack Douglas? You're telling me he stopped doing those Yesterday I Asked You videos to start making this book? Wow, how crazy. Where have you been, Jack Douglas? What kinds of things have you seen? It's probably covered in that book, honestly. Me tries to resize an image, Microsoft Word. Okay. Deletes all vowels, pastes all the employee handbook, starts 3D printing a haunted amulet. Yeah, never resize in this program again, idiot. Voided. 1 kid's burger, please. They'd like the patty cut into dinosaur shapes. 2 thin lines of ketchup, no bun, corn chips on the side, and juice box. Watermelon preferred, but cherry will do. Okay, thanks. Bye. You're only a teenager once, guys. Ask your crush out. Go to parties. Make friends. Travel across Egypt wearing a trench coat with a classmate, a French guy, a fortune teller, your grandfather, and a dog. The world is limitless! When life gives you lemons, give the lemons back. Why were the lemons free? Is something wrong with the lemons? Are the lemons haunted? Be suspicious of the lemons. Were they homegrown? Are they giving it out to the community? Why am I getting these lemons specifically, life? I don't trust you and your charitable lemons. How to love yourself even though the tattoo artist didn't post a pic of your tattoo. Real hard to deal with, I know, but we're gonna grapple with that and you can love yourself anyway. People are like, why don't you just sleep over? As if I don't need a pitch black room with at least 2 fans on with a temperature at exactly 72 degrees with a humidifier on and antimicrobial bamboo sheets and a spritz of lavender pillows for to even think about falling asleep. You kidding me? I have standards. Yep. This is for the Kamala Harris supporters in the conservative red states who can't put stickers on cars or signs in their yard for fear of their safety concerns to their pets and children. We know you exist. We will see you at the polls. That is hyper specific. That was, wow, well done. Wouldn't it be nice to get knocked out cold with a shovel for exactly 6 weeks and 5 days? God, one can only dream. Me at age 9 hearing my uncle piss loud as hell downstairs and wondering how the hell he did that, completely unaware that he would die on a ski slope the next day and somehow decided it was my fault because I judged him. Sorry, Unc. Countries where it is legal to hit a Swedish person with a stick if they walk to your country over ice. Only one place is that legal. Where everywhere else, I mean, they haven't really specified that, but you can try, I guess. Someone told me today that I have a colonial face and look like I'm fresh off the Mayflower. Okay, thanks. The Philippines' first Olympic gold medalist at Paris, Carlos Yulo, will receive the following for winning. A lifetime of free colonoscopies at 45 years old, a furnished condo, a house, over $200,000 in cash, an iPhone 16, free cookies for life from a local bakery, free food for life from multiple local restaurants, and free engineering education. So yeah, and these say that it doesn't matter if you win the Olympics. How about those free cookies, pal? It's how it crumbles. Joe Rogan is like some barbarian Khan from the steppes that took an interest in intellectual things, and his show is basically him bringing slightly nervous scholars and magicians to come before him to explain how the world works. Glasses man, you explain to Joe why sky big and how tree grow. But he will also believe almost anything you tell him, and only recently in the past few years does he clap back, like, Tiny Hat Man say otherwise. Do you lie to Joe? Tiny Hat Man say fat not bad for you, that sugar is enemy, so which is truth? Joe thinks you are wrong. And people just nervously go, okay, yeah, I guess so. Joe spent many moons on horseback, in training with bow and sword. But Joe also wonder why skyfire rise from mountains every morning. You will explain this to Joe. I would watch the show if it was like that. If it was phrased like that all the time, I would watch it. That sounds like an entertaining program. Yes. I was looking for a soap dispenser labeled ketchup with a picture of grapes. I really want this bottle in my bathroom. I'd place it next to matching decorative soaps and towels as if it seems like it fits. But I'll actually fill the thing up with ketchup. So when I have guests over, they decide to use the bathroom, they'll see this bottle and have a moment of cognitive dissonance. This soap bottle in the bathroom is labeled ketchup, so surely it must dispense soap instead of ketchup, despite the label saying ketchup, right? And then let them have a moment of realization, followed by abject horror as they pump viscous ketchup all over their hands instead of soap. It's the perfect plan.
Lunch is ground beef with banana and honey. It's actually so good. 200 calories and 22 grams of protein. This looks like something you'd feed a pit bull on its birthday. Yeah, look, I'm not putting bananas in my ground beef, you psycho. Oh, it feels so good to be back. Don't you agree? Hope you guys had a great holiday season. Let's get to it, shall we? I wonder how long you could drive in a roundabout before a cop would be like, hey, you can't do that anymore. Pretty sure somebody did a video about that. And he made it for like 3 hours before a police officer came by and said, dog, you gotta chill out. Something like that. Stop leaving your kids around those extra old folks. I asked my little nephew how old he was turning. He said, if the Lord sees fit, 6 in May. God damn it. Girls actually text each other like, I'm meeting a guy allegedly named Brian here. If he murders me, here's his Bumble pic so he can be brought to justice. And then the reply is like, you got it, girl. Have fun tonight. Imagine going through a bad breakup in 1823, and then Beethoven drops Moonlight Sonata. Oh, I bet that was an absolute banger. I don't know how the average person would have heard it, though, because you would have to go hear that played somewhere. Like no one had phonographs and record players and whatnot, or at least the average person definitely would not have been able to afford that. There's no way, right? I don't know what year the phonograph was invented. Here, let me see. I bet it was a little bit later, though. Let's see. Phonograph invention. February 1878. So, yeah, I don't think it would have really mattered in the grand scheme because, like I said, you're going to have to go hear it in person somehow. This is the most humiliating day of my life. Hello, Alexander. Hope your evening has been most enjoyable. Would you care to receive some artful photographs of my nude form? Why do you sext like Jigsaw? Come on. You absolutely did that on purpose. Who the hell says it like that?
Would you care to receive some artful photographs of my nude form? Hello?
Map of all the countries where the Prime Minister went for a swim and literally just f***ing disappeared one day and was never found and none of the citizens gave a shit. Where did the Prime Minister go swimming? Was it in a pool? A pool connected to another universe? Or did he decide to pick the wrong beach? What happened? Did anybody actually get to the bottom of this at all? I'm assuming no. As you said, no one gave a shit. Me watching Bake Off? You fool! You can't dip the walnut whirl in the tempered chocolate. You have to drizzle over the top to achieve the characteristic wobble of the coffee ganache Parisian cafe style. Me baking at home? I forgot to put apples in the apple pie. Gen Z will never understand growing up with parents who basically poured a gallon of milk into our body with a big funnel every day because Big Milk told them that if we didn't drink enough, our bones would go soft and we'd turn into pudding people and get kidnapped at the mall. Man, isn't drinking too much milk also a real bad thing too? But yeah, you guys remember that? Got Milk? You guys remember Got Milk? Doesn't really exist anymore, at least as far as I can tell. I'm sure if you're in an older school that never takes any of its posters down or anything like that, you'll still see some remnants of it. Stop shaming people for reading kids' books. Adult books are about sad people having affairs, while kids' books have a magic treehouse or a worm driving an apple. You tell me who's winning. I do genuinely agree with this. There are plenty of adult books that are fantastic. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying one is inherently better than the other. However, I still love going back and reading Warrior Cats. I still love going back and reading the City of Ember series, or my favorite book as a kid, Dragon Rider. Dude, I'll read that crap all day long, because it's fun. It's whimsical. It's very easy to get through, because it's written for teenagers, or 10-year-olds, or whatever. I don't care. It's just fun. And as this person put it, they have worms driving apples. You can't really beat that. Unless, you're going to read House of Leaves. Then that beats it. No cake in a cake looks like object video is in fact cake. It's a pound of fondant wrapped around a miserable little piece of bread, the consistency of florist's foam. Beautiful art to be sure, but each is a lie wrapped in another lie, as edible as the object it apes. That's true. No one would actually want to take a bite of any of these objects at all. Apple CEO confirms the tech giants are working on a driverless car. The Apple Car. It's the year 2032. You're driving on the highway to work in your Apple Car when you hear the news that the new Apple Car 2 is coming out. Suddenly, the speed of your car goes from 95 to 25. Chaos ensues. I have less than zero interest in self-driving vehicles. I just don't. I have no interest. No interest whatsoever, all right? Humans suck ass at it. We're all very bad. Genuinely. All of us. But I don't need this. I don't need something else to be controlling the giant weapon I'm going to work in. I don't need that. Absolutely not. Whether it's code or some dude somewhere with an Xbox 360 controller. I don't need any of that nonsense. One day, some guy is going to see me eating a whole rotisserie chicken with my bare hands in my parked car and think, that's her. She's the one. I mean, who the hell wouldn't think that if they saw someone just absolutely going to town on a rotisserie chicken? As a relatively successful and busy man who lives in the city, my greatest fear is losing my girlfriend to a hometown hunk with a young son who teaches her the true meaning of Christmas. Nursing school doesn't prepare you for the number of elderly patients who will casually confess to decade-old murders. Are they really confessing, or have they just kind of lost their marbles because they're old? They're very old. Are they just saying shit? Or did Susie actually poison her husband 45 years ago? Trying to gossip with your dad is so hard, because first, you have to introduce the characters, then give the plot line, then dish him the debts, and then you have to repeat it again because he wasn't listening the first time. When did you become radicalized by the US healthcare non-system? I'm rubbing my head after getting a cavity filled. Dental assistant says, do you want a Tylenol? I say please, and she leaves to get me one. $15 on the bill. I thought she meant like from her purse. Yeah, it's mind-blowing that it's legal to do that, where they charge you kind of what they're going to be charging your insurance. $15 on the bill. Kiss my ass. We've all got to collectively just start going, no. Oh no, you're going to try and go after my credit? I don't give a f***. I don't care. No, not going to pay that. Shouldn't be paying that. We pay tens of thousands of dollars a year per person to be treated like this. No. Craigslist tip. If you're buying from a guy who looks visibly divorced, ask him if he's married and listen to his story. If you follow this dialogue tree and make sympathetic remarks, you may get up to a 30% discount on your item. Even more if he's selling a sports car. Damn, that's a good idea there, Donald. My brother's texting this girl, and apparently she's on punishment, so she's got no phone. He created a Google Doc, and they talk by editing the document. Don't ever say you can't talk to someone. Interesting. I don't know how long that would work, though. They'd get caught eventually, right? Here's the problem with fruit. It's inconsistent. Some apples are delicious. Some taste bad. Sometimes blueberries are great. Sometimes they're disgusting. You know what's the same every time? Doritos. Ooh, I never thought about it that way. You're right about all of that. I don't think there's a single part of this that could possibly be incorrect. My husband's dying wish was to make people think he led a double life. We had 3 blacked out Land Rovers follow the cortege, and actors in suits and trench coats observed the funeral from a distance. He was a bank manager for TSB, and to this day, haven't told anybody the truth. That's a fun idea. That's a really fun idea. When I die, I'm going to be cremated, but I still want there to be some final prank I pull on people. I don't know what it exactly will be. Maybe this, probably not. I want to think of something on my own. If you pay me $50, I'll show up to your funeral but stand really far away, holding a black umbrella regardless of the weather, so that people will think you died with a dark and interesting secret. Hey, this is like a different version of what we just read about. See, that's a good idea. Although, it might not be. Someone might take it the wrong way and beat you up or something because they thought you were like the mistress or whatever. My worst nightmare is Spotify randomly throwing out an Ed Sheeran song whilst I'm driving. Then I crash and die, but it keeps playing. So the first responders think I was an Ed Sheeran fan, and they tell my mom, and I end up being cremated to the f***ing Shape of You. Oh, man, that would be awesome, right, Guy? Eyelashes are supposed to prevent things from going into your eyes, but whenever I have something in my eye, it's always an eyelash. Ironic, isn't it? You smartass. Is gym really worth it? Was there some sort of study that says seasoning decreases muscle growth, or do bodybuilders just eat the food equivalent of a suicide note every day voluntarily? If I had to guess, it has something to do maybe with sodium levels or whatever, I don't know. Maybe they don't have a real concept of what seasoning truly is, so they assume it's just tons of salt, which isn't exactly going to help you not feel bloated, you know what I mean? But I don't have any real ideas. In memory of Ellen Shannon, aged 26 years, who was fatally burned March 21st, 1870, by the explosion of a lamp filled with R.E. Danforth's non-explosive burning fluid? Couldn't sleep last night. Kept thinking about how the Green Ranger had a dagger that was a flute that sounded like a synthesizer that's trying to sound like a trumpet, and he blew into it with his helmet on. You're not supposed to think too hard when you're watching Power Rangers at all, okay? It's Power Rangers. Stop thinking about it. Told my kids I couldn't find the hot cocoa powder, to which my 4-year-old said maybe someone took it and hid it behind my bed, which is a suspiciously specific theory. Well, was he correct? Did someone indeed do that? I'm willing to bet that it did indeed happen. My 4-year-old pretended she was a hired cleaner yesterday. As she helped me clean, she asked if I had any kids. After telling her about my 2, I asked if she had any of her own. Turns out she has 5 kids and has been married to a man named Carlin for 30 years. You think you know someone? She came up with the name Carlin? There's no way. They should not give cops horses. Give those horses to postal workers so I can sit on my porch, drink an iced tea, and then a guy rides up on a horse and says, "Hey, pal, got a letter for you here." God. That would be fun, but I'd feel so bad for the horses. The horses would have to be used exclusively for incredibly short, small city routes. Like one horse per day, you know, that's it. They all get a huge break after that, you know? $100 a night hotel. Hi, we have you for 3 nights. Checkouts whenever, not true. Enjoy the 24-hour gym and pool that smells like chlorine and feet, respectively. Unlimited breakfast. Eat Costco sausages till you die. We don't care. $275 a night hotel. Oh, His Royal Highness expects free Wi-Fi, does he? Oh man, when have you ever gone to a hotel where checkout was whenever? Genuinely. There should be a hotline you can call where you can safely pronounce words you've only ever read out loud for the first time, and they say, "Oh, sweetie," and then kindly explain how it's pronounced. That would be a great idea. Having someone go, "Oh, you're stupid, let me explain it." That sounds great. I'm rewatching House, and holy crap, this show is bananas. They just let this man limp around doing medical crimes all day, every day, including Christmas. Patient, I have a cough. Dr. House, first of all, you, your shoes look a little loose. Your hair is ugly. Chase, check this man's butthole for worms. Dr. Chase. Unbelievable! Only the second case ever of butthole worms. How did you're playing an air guitar on his cane? That show is wild. I kinda hope that they do like a movie or something after all these years. I'd love to see them all back again, committing serious crimes, but saving one person's life every episode. Why does everyone say housewife or house husband when house spouse is not only gender neutral, but rhymes? Wait, spouse rhymes with house? I always pronounced it booze in my head. Why is your language so weird? Because English beats up other languages in dark alleys, then rifles through their pockets for loose grammar and spare vocabulary. Okay. It's terrifying to realize that any collection of 3 to 6 white guys you see walking around could be Imagine Dragons, and there's no way to know. Ooh, I never thought about that. Oh man, that's actually a pretty horrifying thought. Man, am I gonna start getting scared to go outside because of this shit? It's Catholic canon that in the Garden of Gethsemane? I've said this word before in the past. Gethsemane, Jesus Christ saw every sin committed by human beings, which means that he watched a guy blasting rope to Waluigi hentai and still decided to sacrifice himself for humanity. Absolute legend. Is that a sin? Is it a sin to... I mean, specifically, I guess, the Waluigi hentai, God probably would consider that a sin. But is it a sin just to jerk it? Like an actual sin? Or is it just something they tell you not to do? I'm curious. Let's ask Jesus for comment. Are the Amish allowed to level up the tech tree every couple hundred years, or is it a permanently frozen kind of thing? Like, in 100 years, are they allowed to invent the radio? Has nothing to do with whether or not they're allowed to. They specifically choose to not utilize electricity. Those suckers do make a kick-ass space heater, though, I'll give them that. You wake up. You're still a lizard, sunning on a red rock. It was all a dream. The concept of selling feet pics to pay back student loans is already losing its meaning as you open and lick your own eyeballs to moisten them. Time to eat a bug. Raising children is hard, but it's all worth it for the one moment when you come back inside from hauling firewood all morning and your child runs up to you, smiling, and tells you, "Log-pilled. You're a log-pilled fire cell. Heat-maxing. Winter-coated." If you were ever a lunch lady in a small public elementary school in East Orange, New Jersey in the early 80s and you snuck a small shy girl with blue eyes and bangs a peanut butter sandwich on the day she had no lunch money, know I have loved you my entire life and I hope you've been happy and healthy. Lunch money. What a concept that we have over here in the good old United States of ass. Absolutely amazing. Children have to... Sure, they're not actually the ones having to pay for lunch, but it's stupid as f***, ain't it? That's crazy. Good on that lunch lady, though. If your name is Maggie, you attend North Carolina State University, and your grandparents come to Chick-fil-A in Mount Airy, you should know that they adore you, and they were telling me how proud they are of you. They told me you made the dean's list. Good job, girl. Just found out you can watch a movie at 7:45 in the morning if you want to. Shit's magical. That, honestly, it doesn't sound very... I don't know why I don't like the idea of watching a movie, like, in the morning. It's weird. Like, I'll watch a movie at 1 or 2 in the morning, sure, but like in, like, the daylight morning, no, it feels weird. Mankind wasn't meant to work in December. We were meant to hide from wolves, drink, and pray our autumn harvest will last us through the dark months. Yeah, we were totally meant for that. Driving through the Midwest is just absolute nothingness. And then every 70 miles, you see God is real, hell is real too, followed by a sign for a store that says XXL dildos. The God is real, hell is real too ones are hilarious to see because those are everywhere. Boys are always like, what the hell, you never hang out with me. First of all, your idea of hanging out is getting me high while your mom is at work and then trying to f me while Naruto plays in the background. Alright, yeah, I could see the problem here. Nothing makes me feel more disconnected from my fellow Americans than the Netflix top 10 list. Oh, do you have better taste? Is your taste so good? Sometimes I think about how I wrote a paper 2 weeks late in the 7th grade and slipped it under my teacher's desk after putting a footprint on it, and she apologized for losing my paper and giving me a 0 and corrected my grade to a B+, and digital submission has just ruined the magic. Yeah, there's no tricking them teachers anymore. But look, 2 weeks late? Come the f*** on, Mike. Grow up. Come on, 7th grade? Grow up. You're an adult. Okay. Oh, that is crazy though. 2 weeks late? I'm not gonna have your back at that point, dog. Like 5 minutes, an hour a day, something weird happened? Sure, but 2 weeks? Goddamn, what the f***? Did you die? Being a grandpa must be tough. Some baby mispronounces a word and suddenly your name was Peepo for the last 30 years of your life. Yeah? Chasing after a ping pong ball is wildly dehumanizing. So is chasing after a tennis ball. New York wants to build this U-shaped skyscraper. It's so big that a plane could easily go through it. Why? Yeah, blah, 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 stupid plane building joke, whatever, but why would, if this is true, what's the purpose? And how much does that stupid penthouse at the top cost? I would not feel safe in this sort of thing. It actually, I don't think it's real because it looks like that really skinny, weird apartment building where your average condo or whatever you want to call it's like $50 million. Can you imagine living in that though? I'd be horrified. Every single day of my life, I would think it's gonna get blown over in the wind or just collapse because that doesn't look like it should be standing up at all, alright? I've had nightmares about being in penthouses and apartments 100 floors up. Absolutely not. Folks who don't give you a recipe because it's a family secret are really odd. First of all, it's not like your family's living off these cinnamon rolls, and secondly, you told me you cheat on your wife before, so, like, is it f***ing clove or not? Millennials, quit whining. I paid off $150,000 in student loans and own a $400,000 home because I save. It's not that hard. I make coffee at home, bus instead of Uber, shop sales, had parents pay off my loans and buy me a house because I'm daddy's special boy, and got Hulu with ads. What my girlfriend thought. First 4 dates. Nice shirt. Wow, a second nice shirt. Okay, first shirt again. He has 2 shirts. Why is sleeping at night so hard, but sleeping in the morning is like drifting away on a soft, fluffy cloud while Adele sings you a lullaby? I've wondered shit like that my entire life. Why is it so easy at certain times of the day? Why is it so easy for me to fall asleep in the car on the way home? But then when I actually get into the house, I'm wired and can't do shit. As a kid, I thought sleepovers were wild because we played video games for 10 hours. Then I heard about girl sleepovers, and they're wild, man. They gossip, eat 40 pounds of food, and take blood oaths, and host fight night, and sacrifice the weakest member to the goddess of the moon. Like, what the hell? Wait. On your sleepovers, you didn't eat 40 pounds of food? Dude, we were pounding so much caffeine. If I were to drink that amount of caffeine today, I'd probably need to go to the hospital. We were eating the junkiest junk food of them all. I think at one point, like 15 years ago, I ordered for myself like $16 worth of Taco Bell just for me. And that was like 14, 15 years ago. Like these days, 3 items comes to that total. But back then, oh my God. You gotta remember, when the 5-layer burrito launched, it was 89 cents. I ate enough food to kill God. Thank you for bringing your Bluetooth speaker to the beach. I didn't want to hear the sounds of the waves and birds and wind. I wanted to hear the Spotify playlist you listen to everywhere else in your life because you hate to be alone with your thoughts for even 1 minute. Thank you! Look, I would normally agree. I get it. I would normally agree. However, you are in the most popular public space in any city that has a beach. You are in the most popular public space. Shut the f*** up. A blue whale's anus can stretch up to 3.5 feet, making it the second largest asshole next to people that talk on speakerphone in public. If men are stronger than women, why do male characters in video games need full plate armor while the women only need a chainmail bikini? Checkmate. My Japanese mom said if I got on America's Got Talent, she'd pretend she doesn't support my comedic career and no longer speaks to me to give me a solid backstory. She said she'd plan a dramatic moment where she calls for the first time in 5 years. I love her so much. Me thinks boyfriend is mad because he's being very quiet. What you thinking about? About how bike tires are made. Ladies, we gotta stop worrying what the boys are thinking, because 9 times out of 10, it's some dumb shit like this. I'm a dentist, and I graduated with 68 other ones. I've met even more in 13 years as a dentist. None of us have been asked shit about our opinions on toothpastes. Well, that's because you're not part of the f***ing panel of those dentists. You're not part of that. You're just a dentist. Normal people. I met this guy. He was average. Victorian writers. He was, in the way of most men, possessed of a rudimentary intelligence. His countenance ordinary, his bearing mild, with some weakness about his shoulders. His hair the color of ash. He spoke of the weather. Yeah, come on. We need people to talk like this again. Please write in a fun way. Purple up that prose. Leaving a watermelon on someone's doorstep in the middle of a night is a pretty inexpensive way to occupy a portion of their mind forever. It's like that TV guy. You know, the one that was going around for a little while and leaving CRTs on people's doorsteps while wearing one on his head? Don't post wicked spoilers. So fun fact, it's actually a 21-year-old musical adapted from a 29-year-old book, which is based on an 85-year-old movie, which is adapted from a 124-year-old book. There are certain cutoffs for certain movies where I think, shut up about spoilers. Tired of it. At a certain point, grow up, genuinely. A woman could have 4 broken limbs and massive internal injuries due to an epic battle with a fire-breathing dragon, and the first question the doctor's office will ask is, what's the date of your last menstrual period?
Pets look like their owners. Dude, I love how guinea pigs look at you like you just committed 689 felonies. They have that, oh my god, stare. I love it. When y'all finish playing hide and seek and the tryhard person comes out the most ridiculous spot, sweaty and dusty AF, and they got dry lips and no money and no future. Hate it when that happens. Dating a girl is fun until she starts biting your arm. Or until she cheats on you with your best friend on Thursday, October 7th, 2019 at 6:40 p.m. That's the worst. Poor guy. Bruh, these kids were running a lemonade stand and I walked to them and said, got any grapes? And this kid deadass looks me in the eyes and says, we prepared for people like you. And pulled out a bowl of cold grapes. He knew. He was ready and waiting for this moment.
I gave in. I bought you some grapes.
British men stopped wearing this hat some years ago and started getting it as a haircut instead. They just kept the shape, changed what it was, you know? Instead of a hat now, it's just part of you forever. Go hang a salami backwards as I'm a lasagna hog. What? No, Stanford really said that. You will soon discover a new talent for juggling pineapples. Well, this I would never have expected out of a fortune cookie, so this must be the first real fortune cookie. Thank you. What will I do with this? Can I profit off of this? Word of the day is latibulate, 17th century. To hide in a corner in an attempt to escape reality. Okay, well, we're bringing that back, obviously. Shout out to my latibulators. Latibulating like crazy. Imagine you're getting a job at a GameStop, and your manager is the type of guy to chug a whole Monster Energy drink and then say, ha, level up! And he does that every day. Now you know what it's like working at the GameStop, because this is my manager. He's real, and he's me. If your credit score is below 800, this is worth a try. Hey, why does the man look like he just freed 160 children from forced labor in Senegambia after a gruesome battle where he lost half of his men? I mean, don't try it. He looks like he knows what he's talking about, but there's pain in those eyes. Just ate 3,000 calories of Airport Panda Express ass crack a dawn rooster, still tired. And you want to ask me to move my feet out of the aisle? These are size 13 shoes and I'm inbred. I'm the serpent in the garden with nicotine poisoning. You're on vacation with your kids. I'm dying in real life. So no, I won't move. I will never understand how we normalized health insurance companies acting as a barrier between doctors and patients for no reason other than extracting money. They literally don't even have a product. Their product is denying you. That's what they're great at telling you that you can't be taken care of. That's what they do. That's their business model. I am gay? No. Straight? No. Bisexual? No. Asexual? No. Annoyed at people who tell me to stop bouncing my leg because it's a distraction for them or because it bothers them? I'm sorry you don't have anxiety, Susan. Stop fucking judging me and let me be internally anxious in peace. Check. British people eat like aliens pretending to know what human food is, and frankly, I'm tired of us pretending that they don't. Bangers and mash, that's not even a real word. Not even a real thing. Spotted dick, you're insane. Imagine what it's like to work at BuzzFeed. Your boss asks you to grow out your pubes for a month. You ask Dave from accounting if he wants to go out for a drink, but he's on a ketchup cleanse this week. You need to find Sheila to get her figures for this quarter, but she's away, trying transcendental puppy kale yoga for the first time. You get roped in to do a taste test for slow-cooked yogurt, and now you're stressed because you can't find the perfect gift for your what is your favorite Game of Thrones butt plug say about you listicle for minimum wage. Put a finger down if your kitten pooped in his carrier on the plane because he got scared of a rough landing, and the crew was so angry about the smell that they kicked you off your next flight and left you in a random city for 12 hours, and now you're rationing cat litter and food at a family bathroom. I still have all my fingers up. Not me. I hate to admit this, but our feelings on certain things really do change as we get older. 10 years ago, I would have preferred to get a new video game instead of an engagement ring. But now that I'm older, I would prefer to get a domesticated raccoon instead of an engagement ring. Things really do change. Cillian Murphy looks like he was designed by someone who was both very horny but also riddled with Catholic guilt, and he came out on the other end. I have a World War I trench knife embedded in my bedroom wall just in case. 1917 edition. More useful than a gun in close quarters. This is from a man who is so physically awkward, he looks like a handful of custard being pushed with chopsticks through a revolving door. But he, thinks that he can handle the knife way better than the gun in close quarters. Coworker. Good to be back at work though. Break felt a little long to me if I'm being honest. The Slavic man I hired to pour hot soups on people who annoy me. Here come the ladle. Oh, perfect. Thank you. That's why I pay you the big bucks. Imagine it's your day in court for a horrible crime you didn't commit. Your lawyer's late, you haven't even met them yet. Then the doors swing open and it's a fucking golden retriever in a suit. Your heart sinks. You realize you're an Airbud 14 attorney at paw. You weep. But hey, you walk free, because goddammit those dogs know law. Zuckerberg wore a $900,000 watch while announcing Meta's end to fact-checking. Yeah, he looks like dudes I used to sell to in high school that were hosting a party because their parents were out of town, so this all checks out. By the way, a cautionary tale. If you find a bunch of bones that are A, untouched, and B, supernaturally clean, there is definitely a reason for both of those things. Sometimes that reason is ants. Sometimes those ants are fire ants. Sometimes those fire ants have made a nest over the entire 3-meter area around those bones. Well, it sounds like someone had an adventure with fire ants and it didn't go well. Seems fair enough to me. My men height chart. 5 to 5'3", Stuart Little. 5'4" to 5'7", Sassy. 6'1" and above, King. I'll you out. Oh boy, in the women weight chart. 100 to 130, Goddess. 131 to 150, Queen. 151 to 170, Whale. Jesus Christ. 171 to 190, Mammoth. 190 plus, Ford F-150 extended cab 4x4 with Pro Tow package. But hey, that's reliable. And don't you want something reliable? I always found this such an odd argument. It's funny if you have a thing for taller guys. It's fine if you have a thing, but then bringing in, I don't know. I always found this this back and forth. This to me, this like, whoa, woman who's this big. I want a guy who's this tall. This is just the dating version of the console wars to me. It's just two people arguing endlessly forever. 80s video game. Here is a fantasy that you're an astronaut blasting asteroids. 90s. No, you're a badass marine blasting demons. 2000s. Time to blast some aliens. 2010s. Chop up these zombies. 2020s. Here's a fantasy that you have a cozy house, friends, relationships, and food. Enjoy. I wonder what prehistoric schizophrenics had delusions about. Like, what was the Neolithic equivalent of CIA gang stalking? I don't know, smoke signals? What the heck do I get my elderly roommate turned surrogate father, who's a recently out of the closet gay Democrat, with a family that doesn't really accept him and is still unexpectedly but significantly involved with the Catholic Church, yet has little to no hobbies? Budget is $30 to $50. The answer is a journal. Let him write it out. Girls that will ruin your life. Any and all Jessicas, all Emilys, all Catherines. That girl with red eyes who appears in my room at 3:33 a.m. and laughs until she cries blood. And Alex. The last thing your CV sees before a 36-year-old divorced cat lover HR lady shift deletes it because her hormones told her so. Isn't that crazy? Goodbye, CV, no job for you. Ice skating is wild. Someone was brave enough to walk onto a frozen lake and be like, you know what my feet need? Knives. That's exactly how we're gonna get through this. We cater any event. Wedding, graduation, horse funeral, drug intervention, Tuesdays. Horse funeral, a night alone, return of Jim, anniversary of horse funeral. Come inside for a free consultation. Let's see if we can help you. She's a 10, but when she's on top, she yells, "It's a me, Wario." Then, excuse me? Then farts on my balls and uses my ears like a steering wheel. Small price to pay for love, buddy. Lady Gaga stuns in a new photo. She looks like she's gonna lure you to a remote island and have you fight a big robot under a volcano. It looks like she's scheming. Mariah points a claw at another innocent victim. All I want for Christmas is you. We look away. The screaming eventually ceases and is replaced by the sound of bones crunching. We can sleep easy. The Mariah has been fed. For now. Dear God, this happens every year? Beating the dog out of my family at Mario Kart. No handouts. First 13 times in a row. People are crying. I feel nothing. This ain't a game to me. I worked myself out of the trenches. I cut my teeth on this. Ain't never been against nobody not like me. Huh? Mate looks like he's gonna be at a business meeting right after lunch. Get promoted by evening and take another victim during the night. I see. A real working man. Do you think the top part of a mermaid also tastes like fish, or would that it actually be red meat? Would there be a solid line where the meat changes in their body, or would it kind of blend? Could you make a surf and turf platter with one carcass? So many questions. I went to the ER for a migraine once. The nurse asked what I took for it. I said, a liter of chocolate milk. She paused and said, odd, but only something a migraine sufferer would try. As if I correctly answered her riddle and she was granting me passage to the land of pain relief. I solved her troubling query, and I got a reward for, passing the test. Muscle men to carry my mother in the East Village. My mom is dead. She wanted to be cremated by the guy who burns bodies, says she's too fat to get on fire. For her funeral, we'll put her in a box. I am looking for 6 athletic male models to carry my mom into the church. Must have 6-packs and bring your own fedoras. The funeral will be gangster themed because she is Italian. God bless. It's surprising how often crime news stories deal with music. Somebody shoots a neighbor because of the music they're playing, but the newspapers never tell you the name of the song. This disappoints me. If I were a journalist covering the story, that would be the first question I asked. Like, how justified was this, was this shooting? I don't believe the whole most people only have 4 sexual partners in their life thing, because pretty much everyone I know is sitting somewhere between 60 to 120 bodies. And while it's possible that I'm only friends with whores, I truly don't think that's the case. Do you live in New York City? People have insane numbers there. Oklahoma. The numbers in the Bible Belt are insane, I promise you. Before I became a parent, I never thought I would break up a fight at a living room guinea pig fashion show, yet here we are. The world is full of surprises. Your password must be between 732 and 942 characters. It cannot be the same as any word in any known language. It must include 3 hieroglyphs, ancient Babylonian text, and the solution to Fermat's last theorem. Good luck. Hey, don't cry. Crush 2 cloves of garlic into a pot with a dollop of olive oil and stir until golden. Then add 1 can of crushed tomatoes, a bit of balsamic vinegar, half a tablespoon of brown sugar, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and stir for a few minutes, adding a handful of fresh spinach to wilted. Mix in pasta of your choice, okay? It'll be fine. My daughter was 4, and while we were sitting eating breakfast one morning, she says, I was on a mountain once, and my mom, dad died, and then I woke up and was in the house with you and mama. Then we just sat there for a few seconds and looked at each other. Then she said she wanted to watch Paw Patrol, so that's what we did. Out of order, please use ladies for pooping. Can you narrow down which lady to shit on? I've been arrested for similar before. Just want to make sure I dot my I's and cross my T's here. It's wild that you can just do anything. Date the wrong person, choose the wrong career. You can go outside and start eating dirt if you want, and the universe lets you. Not even a pop-up like, are you sure? No, it just, free will is crazy. Please, do not stand around the printer and do not sit on the table. Hugging the printer is not permitted either. John, thank you. What do you remember most from your first sex ed class? I remember Mrs. de Blasio, the school secretary, telling us to never believe a guy who said he couldn't wear condoms because they were too small. And then she stretched one over her head like a ski mask as proof. That's awesome. Hell yeah. The fun thing about English/literature class is that no matter your feelings towards English or literature as a subject, there's always that one fucking short story that you remember decades later because holy hot dogs, that was a fucked up thing to make a 10th grader read. The Jaunt, are you kidding me? All white people, stop use Red Note. You bring pervert and behavior to Red Note, no good. Look, all this white already spreads virus on Red Note. Shake arm fat like country flag. What make America most disgust? Now all this try make China most disgust. Slut virus most strong. I'm not approve. Already making waves on Red Note, I see. The other one is Mango Loco if they have it. Yeah, that's the one that I wasn't comfortable grabbing. There's not another flavor. Have like 10 other flavors. It's just personal reasons as far as the mango flavor goes. Oh yeah, well the mango one is the other one we like. Alright, well I'm not comfortable grabbing that due to my religious reasons, so you're gonna make me grab it now? My friend Mitch's wife got drunk and let it slip that they haven't made love in 3 years because he's addicted to online porn, so tonight I surprise him with my famous baked beef rigatoni, and that's gonna set the mood just right for them. Me seeing a skinny, pale, drug-addicted, toxic deadbeat man with an unusual name with personality disorders and would treat me like shit. Oh my god! Tattoos are for scumbags and whores. Guess which one I am. I can tell by the way you're looking at me that I'm suddenly the 26th president of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. You have that Teddy Roosevelt stare. I can see it in your eyes, Perry. If you see a toilet in your dream, do not use it. This is a warning from someone who's wiser than you. Do guys like their inner thighs being touched too, or is that just a girl thing? Depends. Are we assuming you're my wife, or did you just put on a raccoon costume and break into my house through the second floor window with wooden ladders? Oh, you have that kink too? Dude, samesies, twins. Why do men still send pics when they know they can be printed out and put inside a hollowed out courgette, zucchini, with crushed insects, dog shit, rotting meat, and alum powder, and then buried under a poisonous tree in the cemetery while reading Psalms 37:2? Makes no sense. We're out here performing rituals. By age 26, you should have built a rocket, fought a mummy, climbed up the Eiffel Tower, discovered something that doesn't exist, and given a monkey a shower. If you haven't done those, you've wasted your summer vacation. You saw me at the Walmart and didn't say hi. What I saw at Walmart? I don't know what you're talking about. If you ever find a genie and you're really craving a dessert that looks like this, do not say, I'd like a lifetime supply of raspberry crowns. Well, this is in fact the name of the pastry. It's also the name of a species of wasp for some reason. The genie, being a nasty trickster, will no doubt give you a bunch of wasps. This is an oddly specific post. Are you okay? Did you get a bunch of wasps? Deer population is controlled by releasing wolves into an area. All problems should be solved that way. Too much pollution? Release wolves in factories. Dislike Congress? Wolves. Want to lose weight? That's right. Wolves. There's something so freeing about doing things wrong. Taking all the blankets off your bed and sleeping on the floor, wearing hoodies over vintage dresses, having pasta for breakfast and cereal for dinner. Small acts of rebellion against the idea that there's only one way to live your life. Refusing to conform, even if it's only for your sake. That's what free will's all about. My dream? To stand on the street and say the words, yeah, I'm gonna have to call you back, while watching some sort of monstrosity overtake Manhattan. It's all I've ever wanted. Parents of Reddit, why don't you close the door when you're leaving our rooms? Well, because saying, son, your room stinks of the month-old cum socks that are clearly stuffed down the side of the bed. You need to come let some fresh air in here. Because I'm genuinely worried at this point that breathing the air that is currently in here technically counts as me swallowing your money shot. Well, that's just gonna embarrass us both. So I just leave the door open. It's a lot easier that way. Request. If someone were to swim naked in a 50-meter freestyle swimming race, how much would having an erect to reduce the drag, assuming he has an average-sized penis? please answer quickly. This is time sensitive. Just showered and I'm smelling good as F. Who trying to chew on my labia like it's a Polly Pocket skirt? Yeah, tough crowd. We'll get him next time.